Let me just test this real quick. Oh, sweet. All right. Well, happy Sabbath, everybody. Thank you for coming here and letting me talk to you about something today. So hopefully we have a very good Bible study today. So it's called Vacation Destination. And we all like vacations. I don't know anybody who really does not like to go on vacations. I personally like them. But before we get really started, let's talk about, what is a vacation? A vacation, funny enough, I didn't really know what it meant. But when I looked it up online, Merriam-Webster's defines it as a period spent away from home or business in a travel or recreation. So, with that in mind, what would be the perfect vacation length for you? Some people like 2 or 3 days. Some people like, a month. Some would like to always be on vacation. But, we can't really do that. But I went online and found that multiple scientists will study everything. And they found out that the perfect vacation length is actually 8 days. So now you have some leeway with your boss to say, hey, I need an 8-day vacation because scientists said this. With that, why do we go on vacations, or where do we go? Some people go on vacations to go visit friends and family, like we're getting into the holiday season, so people go for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Or other people just, hey, I haven't seen this person in a while, so I'm going to go visit them. We also go on vacations, to get away from the current life. They've had enough of the kids, and they just need to go away for a couple of days. Other people go for celebrations, vacations for weddings. A very popular one is honeymoons. And then also we go on vacations to experience different cultures. Some people like to go on vacations to different countries. But we also like to go on vacations to get away from the Oregon weather sometimes. As humans, though, do we need to go on vacation? Yes.
Just use your microphone.
Okay, just use the microphone. It's too noisy. Alrighty, so, yes, as human beings, we need to go on vacation, Again, studies have found that people who go on vacations have lower stress levels, they have a better outlook on life, and they're more motivated when they're at work when they can go on vacations or come back from vacations, and they achieve goals better when they go on vacations also. So, and there's a lot more benefits, but I won't get into that. So I'm going to ask you a couple little questions. Where do you think, actually, before we do that, here's a couple little things that I found that were pretty funny. Some people want to go on this type of vacation, but if you're like me, this is the only vacation that I can afford. And then another one is this one. This is how I spend some of my vacations times. So I just thought those were hilarious, and I just wanted to share them with you. So, where do you think the top most touristy place is by visitors? The ocean? Actually, it is Crater Lake. They get about 750,000 people plus that go visit that. Now, what do you think it is in the United States? Close. It's actually Las Vegas. They get an average of 42 million plus visitors each year. And actually, Las Vegas is also the top place in the world. I think New York, it was second. So, however, what do you think my favorite place is? If you know me, it is no other than good old Disneyland, because I love to see my good pals Mickey, Goofy, and Donald. Oh, and don't forget Pooh and Tigger too. Those are good places. Why I like to go to Disneyland is because I stated, I'm there with friends and family. I like the destination. It's wonderful. It's fun. If you haven't been there, I highly suggest it. So, what's the next slide? So, however, just because we all like to have vacations be perfect, nothing go wrong. However, when you travel with people and travel in general, there can be problems with that. Flights can get delayed if you're traveling far, or they can get canceled for various reasons, whether the previous plane had problems, or if you're driving, you can actually have vehicle troubles. And I'll tell you a little story. I think it was 2013, we were headed down to a cousin's wedding in San Diego. And being the opportunists that my family is, we decided, hey, Disneyland's down there too. Let's make it a vacation. So we drove. So on the way, we were getting about an hour and a half out of Los Angeles, and I told my dad I wanted to actually drive in LA. I'd never really driven in Los Angeles. He said, all right, sure, cool. So we switched drivers, and it was starting to get nighttime. And yeah, I was gonna drive in LA at night for my first time. However, we were in the far left lane, and my dad, being the Jedi Master of cars, told me, hey, pull over, you've got a flat tire. And my first thought was, well, I don't feel the car pulling, but you said pull over. We pull over, sure enough, the rear passenger tire was flat. So we go and change it. All right, cool, that happens. It's a setback. We start going south again, and if you know anything about I-5, we were gonna start heading up the Grapevine, which is the mountain range before Los Angeles. And at this time they were going there, come to find out later that California and the government was actually repaving all of I-5, and they were actually at the Grapevine. So there was a construction zone there at this time. And as we were going through the construction zone, the car next to us rolled down and started pointing to the front of the car. And my dad rolls in the window and goes, hey, you've got a flat front tire up there. The driver's side passenger went flat. Well, if you know anything about cars, you only carry one spare. So we were kind of stranded. My mom called, I think it was the insurance, to get a tow. However, when we took the exit, they said, well, actually, since you took that exit, we're going to take you back up north to the nearest town. We're not going to take you south. So we finally, after a good hour or so for the tow truck to arrive, told us up north to a truck stop. And it was probably about, 10? It was nighttime. Everything was closed at the time, so we had to spend the night in a Kia minivan at a truck stop. So that was a very wonderful experience. Then in the next morning, there was actually one little shop place that sold tires. I might say he was probably charged a little too much for the tires, so we only bought one. We went down to the nearest place, which was Firestone. And as we were getting a whole new set of tires, they got the car in the air, and I walked outside, and I noticed some things dribbling from the motor. And my dad said, that better not be what I think it is. Sure enough, the water pump was failing. So we had to loan our car. So needless to say, our first part of the trip was uneventful. The rest of the trip, marvelous. But so things can happen on travel when you're traveling. Also, other things can happen. Vacation places can close down. There's times where Walt Disney World will actually close because there's a hurricane coming, or other places, mechanical failures. And when you do go to places like that, I've been to Disneyland plenty of times where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go on this ride. I get there, and it breaks down. So things can go wrong. But my next question is there a place in the universe where things won't go wrong? Wouldn't that be nice to go on a vacation and not have to worry about cars breaking down, rides breaking down? Wow. Yes, there is. In Revelation 21:16, it says, the city is laid out, the city is laid out as a square. Its length is great as its, it's right up there. I didn't type this out. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. So there is a place. It's called the New Jerusalem. And I'm going to go over the size real quick of it. So the size of this is actually found in Revelation 21:16. It says, "The city is laid out as a square. Its length is as great as its breadth, and is measured the city with a reed. 12,000 furlongs, its length, breadth, and height are equal to." So, with that, I did some calculations. There we go. 1 furlong is equal to 0.125 miles. So if you do some more math, 12,000 divided by that is actually 1,500 miles. So its square is 1,500 miles around. So each side of the square, length of the square is actually 375 miles on each side. And doing some more research, that's about the size of the state of Oregon. So the city is about as big as the state of Oregon. And with it being the length and the width, I saw different things. A lot of people believe that this looks like a big Borg cube where it's actually 375 miles up. Other people believe that there's just buildings that are 307 miles up. We don't know, so just FYI. So now, the walls. There are walls mentioned in there, and that's found in Revelation 21:17. And it says that he measured the walls, therefore, 144 cubits, according to the measures of a man, that is, of an angel. So again, that converts the 144 cubits translated into they're about 216 feet high and thick walls. That's a pretty good size building. There's also gates in heaven because that's how we're going to get in and out. The gates are actually found in Revelation 21:12 through 13, and it says that the wall was great and high, and it had 12 gates. And at the 12 gates, angels and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes and the children of Israel. So on each section, the 4 sections, there are 3 gates that allow us to go in and out. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So now I kind of told you what the dimensions are. There's this massive city called the New Jerusalem. And with that being said, that there's actually, when I'm done saying that, what is heaven made out of? Is it made out of wood and stuff? Well, let's find out. Since we just talked about the gates are actually, say the 12 gates were pearls. Every gate was 1 pearl. Now that's a pretty good sized piece of pearl. It makes me wonder how big the clams are up there. I don't know, but pearls are pretty cool little things or materials. And then next is going to be the walls. And then it says, and the building of the walls was of jasper. And the city was pure gold. And the jasper was so pure, it looked like glass. This is what jasper looks like right now. And then the next thing I'm going to talk about is actually the streets. The streets in heaven, or the New Jerusalem, the streets on the city was of pure gold, like tempered glass. And I've heard that the gold in its purest form is actually transparent. And to me, that's awe-inspiring that we're going to be walking on gold. And yeah. And then the foundations. The foundations are actually found in Revelation 19 and 20. And it says that the foundations of the city were garnished with all the manners of precious stones. The first foundation was of jasper, which I showed you. The second was of sapphire. The third is called chalcedony. And then the fourth is made out of emeralds. The fifth is sardonyx. The sixth is sardis. The seventh is chrysolite. The eighth is made of beryl. The ninth is made out of topaz. Whoops. The 10th is made out of, however you pronounce that. Your word is guess is mine. Yeah, whatever you said. The 11th is, again, I have no idea what that is. Jarseth. And then the 12th is amethyst. And I found a picture. Here's what they all look like in separate things. And if you see how they're all laid out, they're actually laid out in colors of like a rainbow. So the foundation is one big giant rainbow-like of colors, which would be a beautiful thing to see. So now that we've talked about what it's made out of, and also make a note that if you noticed, there's no wood, there's no building materials like we make things out of. One of the reasons for that is trees won't die. And another thing is that minerals last longer, they're durable. And if you're worried about where God can get this from, He's God, He can create it. He's got a factory, He can make a limited amount of these minerals, so don't worry about that. Now, what else is inside this New Jerusalem? Because I've just kind of told you about what it looks like and what it is, but let's see what else is inside, shall we? In John 14:2, it says, "My Father's house has many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you." So God is building houses or mansions for this place for people to occupy. And that made me started thinking, what's the most expensive house in the world? And so I digging some around. Technically, the most expensive one is Buckingham Palace, but because that's a government building, I'm excluding that. What I'm going to do is the most expensive private residence, and this is what it looks like. It is called Antila. It is found in Mukesh Ambani, it's owned by Mukesh Ambani. That's the guy who owns it. It is found in Mumbai, India. It was built in 2012, and it is 27 stories high, and each floor is as tall as 2 stories combined. So however tall that is, I'm not a builder, so. 2 stories high. It is 568 feet tall. It has got about 400,000 square foot housing. And if you have traffic, well, don't worry. It's got 3 helipads at the very top of the building for you to land on. It has got 4 or 5 stories worth of a car garage, which holds up to 168 cars for this guy. It has got multiple ballrooms throughout the building, and it also has 9 high-speed elevators to get through everything. It has got its own private personal seat theater, which if you looked at the pictures, it's really nice. There are gardens. I don't know if you can see it on here, but on the outside of the building, there's gardens on the outside, and inside there are multiple gardens on the porches and everywhere else. It also has multiple swimming pool and spas throughout this whole building. And when it's hot outside, he actually has a floor dedicated to artificial snow, where you can go inside and cool off and play around in snow. It houses 600 full-time staffers for cleaning and chefs and everything out like that. And it cost him a staggering $2 billion to build. Now, I don't know about you, but that's overkill for me, but hey, to their own. However, as nice as that sounds, imagine what your mansion of heaven is going to be like. It will not be a price tag on that. So, what else is going to be in there? There's also going to be this, a big tree called the Tree of Life. And in Revelation 22:2, it says, "In the midst of the streets of it, on either side of the river, there was a tree of life, which bare 12 manners of fruit, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations." Now, currently, right now, I think the biggest trees are in California. There's a giant oak are sequoias, are they? Sequoia trees are the giant trees. In my mind, this tree is massive, and it bears 12 manners of fruit. So every month, you're going to have a different fruit on it. And what makes this fruit very wonderful for us is that right now, we're missing an enzyme or a component in our diet that prevents us from living forever. Every month, we're going to come to this tree, pluck off whatever fruit we like, and eat it. And this tree is going to propel us life for eternity. And the phrase, the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations, I found out that there's a Greek word called enos, and it's the ethnos, and it's for healing of ethnicities. So what this phrase means is that we're going to be going up there, and we're not going to be called Americans, Canadians, or Mexicans. We're going to be called children of God. We're all going to be healed. There's going to be no national borders or nothing like that. I know, amen. And why I think this tree is huge, because it straddles a river in here. And it says in Revelation 22:1, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God of the Lamb. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got a water filter at home. It's going to be nice someday to actually see what clear crystal water looks like that's not tainted by anything, no minerals to worry about or pollution. And this water will be everlasting water. We won't be thirsty ever again. So now that I described all this is all wonderful and beautiful. It sounds really cool, but what's the best part of heaven? Why would I call this the ultimate vacation destination? I'm going to say it's because God is actually dwelling in a city. This is where his throne is. This is the capital of the universe. And where it is, we don't know right now. Some people believe that it's actually in the belt of Orion. There's a black hole of clusters that we believe, and so it's an idea. It's just a theory out there. We don't know. I can't wait to find out where it actually is. But this river is huge because it's actually the river of life that's going to be jetting out of God's throne and watering the whole world once it moves down here. So it's going to be a pretty good-sized river. The biggest river in the world right now, I believe, is almost kind of between the Nile River and the Amazon River. And with the Amazon River, it pours so much fresh water out that actually if you were to go to 100 miles out into sea, you could still find fresh water from the Amazon River. So this river is pretty good size. So another good part of it is that we're going to be up there. When we get up there, we're going to run and not be weary, and we should not faint. Right now, we couldn't run from here to the end of this here without huffing and puffing and needing a water break. Like I said before, the city is 375 miles across. You'll be able to get your buddy and run full sprint to the other side, not even break a sweat. That's going to be pretty cool. And then, also, there's going to be no jealousy. You won't be fearful. You won't be... where did I lose my answer? Oh, there will be no hatred. Falsehood. No one's going to be lying to each other or lying about any other things. You won't be green of envy. The only green up there is going to be emeralds. There's not going to be impurity, and we won't be criticizing people or making fun of people. No bullying. Another good thing that I'm looking forward to is there's no more death. We won't have to worry about dying. No one worrying about aches and pains. No one worrying about sorrows. No more hospitals. No more doctors. No more hospital bills. Don't have to worry about busting a hip and go getting your operation. We'll have the ultimate doctor up there. There'll be no more tragedy, no more disappointments, no more broken rides, no more car troubles. No one will ever go hungry. No one will ever be thirsty again. And also, you may think that this is some sci-fi place or that somebody's got a really good imagination. However, I believe this place is real. One, the Bible tells me so. And two is that in Corinthians 2, verse 9, it says, "But it is written, eyes have not seen, nor ears have heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for them that love him." So right now, we're just getting a snapshot. If somebody were to take a picture of heaven, we're just seeing one angle. You can, through your wildest imaginations, the mind can't comprehend. So like I said, everything's going to be perfect. You don't have to worry about anything. Just no more family feuds. No more locked doors. Sounds like a pretty good vacation destination to me. However, before I get too far, I got to make one thing. I said everything was perfect. However, there's going to be one thing that will never be perfect, or it's going to be imperfect, and it's the hands of Jesus. Because when he came to this world to die for us, he got hung on the cross, and in his hands he had nails in there. And the hands are to remind us of the sacrifice that he did, and to be a remembrance of what we had to go through to get to this place. So, moving on. So how do you become a citizen? Because if I haven't convinced you enough, this sounds like a place that I would like to call home and do the ultimate vacation, because I don't know about you, but at this point in time, I need a vacation from this planet. I'm getting kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired. So, how do you become a citizen of this place? Well, one is in John 1:17, the blood of Jesus Christ cleanses us from all sins. You have to accept that Jesus actually came down this world and died for us, and have his blood wipe away our sins so that in the record books, they're clean. And when you do that, you will also, it says in Revelation 22:14, "Blessed are those who do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life and may enter through the gates into the city." So it's more than just accepting it. You now act upon that acceptance, and which is obeying the commandments of God, that you can go up to heaven and enjoy and enter through the city. And also, it's also just doing the will. Do the best you can. I know we're all sinful. First one to acknowledge that. We all have our issues and problems. But that doesn't mean that you just stop, You have to accept God's free gift. And it's a gift that you have to accept, that only you can accept. God's not going to force you. I can't force you. You have to accept it yourself. So with that, he's standing at the door and knocking. And that's found in Revelation 3:20. "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in." He loved you so much. John 3:16, "For God so loved the world." If I just said, I love food, but I so love that food, that so means so much more emphasis of that word. He loved you so much, and it's the sin that separates us. And with that being said, there were people kicked out of heaven because they were sinning. We're not going to be going in sinning. So let's try to make a mental note of trying to break that habit. So have you accepted that invitation? Everyone here, and I know I'm speaking to a Christian group, but we're all on different paths of life, or you could say road of life. Some are going through some bumpy roads, some are having a flat tire and have to take a pit stop for a little bit. But my plea to you is, it's a free gift. And doesn't matter where you are. Some of you may have already accepted it, and that's fine. But just remember to keep your destination is the New Jerusalem. It's your ultimate destination. And those of you who haven't, or maybe are delaying for whatever reason, I challenge you to consider it, what I've showed you, what it is. But, don't go up there or don't accept the gift because you want to walk on streets of gold, or because the gates are pearls, or there's a big fancy tree up there, or a really big river. The reason why I want to go to heaven is not because I've got a mansion full of gold or jasper or see this. It's because God is dwelling there. And he came and died for me so I could live eternity with him. So that's my plea to you is that if you haven't accepted it, it's a free gift. So with that, I guess that was it. So I'm just going to go ahead and say a quick little prayer. So, dear God, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about our ultimate vacation destination. And I want to thank you for coming down to this world to die for us and building a home for us to live in. And I want to ask that those who have accepted it and those who haven't accepted it to make a final choice, that we can all be there, because I want everyone to be there, because there's room for everyone there. I ask that you please help us have a good rest of the Sabbath day. Amen. So with that, we're going to do our closing song real quick.
Hymn number 633. Shall we all stand? Sing the wondrous love of Jesus, sing his mercy and his grace. In the mansions bright and blessed, he'll prepare for us a place. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. While we walk the pilgrim's pathway, clouds will overspread the sky. But when troubling days are over, not a shadow, not a sign. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. Let us then be true and faithful, trusting, serving every day. Just one glimpse of him in glory will the toils of life repay. When we all get
before I leave. One quick little thing. Those of you who would like to accept this gift, it's between you and God, but if you'd like to accept it, let's just raise our hand real quick, just to acknowledge that we want to accept that gift and go there. And I created a quick little, I guess you could say, poem that I'm just going to read before I leave. This road of life that we travel on has slow zones and highway speeds. But as long as you are driving towards the ultimate destination, with Jesus being your GPS guide, enjoy the ride. When you come to a fork in the road and have to choose which way to go, just remember that the country road will take me home to where I belong. While you may feel like a weary traveler and your soul feels overwhelmed, carry on, for it will all be worth it in the end. You won't be weary long, for someday soon we're making it home. Someday soon we're making it home. So you weary traveler, someday soon we're making it home. Have a blessed Sabbath day.